Well, last week there was Remembrance Week in Britain, which caused a lot of controversy over the wearing of the poppy. I can think of two groups that would object to the wearing of the poppy would be Irish Republicans, because the poppy symbolises present and all wars, so they would take exception to that, the wearing of it, and then you would have anti-war, people that are anti-war that would object to the poppy because they see it as a form of glorification of imperialism, particularly given that those politicians that are most vociferous with the wearing of the poppy are at the same time plotting their next wars. What is your views on the poppy?
Well, I tend to agree with the anti-war camp to a degree. I think that we have been programmed to understand war as heroic and honourable, and we tend to glorify it, and often we believe that one side will actually win a war, and this whole concept that war is won is a delusion. In my view, war is a loss, and anybody that comes into contact with it is going to lose. Sure, objectives can be won, but those objectives could be won outside of conflict, through diplomatic or other means, because at the end of the day, they're going to sit down and negotiate terms at some degree and come to an agreement. So this whole concept that war can be won or there are winners is an illusion. I think it's something that, along with traditions like the poppy, I mean, let's first say that, of course, I do believe that honouring the bravery of young men and the commitment of young men that have been in the past sent off to war, there is definitely a place for that. And if it is that we are honouring the young individuals, then I believe that there is a place of justification for the wearing of the poppy. But if it is used in a sense that these represents our heroic and glorious battles and triumphs, then it's being used in the wrong way. And I think this is something to do with our programming that's come from generations and generations. War goes back as far as man goes back. And, we've always seen that often the leader of the tribe was the strongest warrior, and it's part of our human nature in that sense to glorify and have our heroes. I think perhaps, looking from the anti-war camp, that perhaps it is doing more long-term damage than it is doing good, because of this idea that it is honourable to be killed, or to go and kill people. There's no honour in that at all.
And if it were used to educate people of the mistakes of the past and not to keep on the same old mistake, as Einstein said, the measure of madness is to keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
Yes, exactly. I think I probably find myself more on the anti-war camp, but I also wouldn't rule out the need to remember those that were lost in war, and if the poppy was used solely for that purpose and not a political tool to rally the nation behind glorious triumphs of the past, then
Well, you were talking about everyone loses in war, but in a book written by the most decorated American soldier, General Smedley D. Butler, in 1935. His book is called War is a Racket, and he certainly cites benefactors from war, as in he claimed that he was nothing more than a hired hitman for big banks and big business.
War is the biggest business in the world. It's and often it's incited and instigated, particularly in somebody else's continent, somebody else's land, for pure rape and pillage of their resources or the profit of weapons science. And if we're aware of that, and that the war comes from the need for profit, then you can see it working in the world today on a daily basis. One thing comes to mind to me is when the chemical weapons were used in Syria recently. Immediately, the mainstream media was accusing Assad of killing his own people, and the first reaction of Secretary of State James Kerry was to let's use these Tomahawk cruise missiles. But, lo and behold, he's actually a shareholder of the company that produces them. So yeah, the reasons behind a lot of conflict in the world is pure profit, whether it be profit through weapon sales or the rape of resources.
So these would be the racketeers that Smedley D. Butler was referring to?
I would imagine, yeah. He for sure lived it firsthand. Was in a position to see the top end of it in function and on the ground.
And then there's some quote that he stated was that he could have given Al Capone hints, because Al Capone operated in three districts, whereas Smedley D. Butler operated on 3 continents.
Yes.